Greetings, geeks and nerds and ladies universe and white and nerdy. And I've been thinking and hesitating about doing this review for a while now, and if you've seen the title of the video, then already know what it is. But I've been going back and forth about reviewing it or not reviewing it, and then I'm deciding, screw it. If you remember back in my 2023 Christmas Christmas special, I picked up these. This is season 1 and season 2 of the series iZombie. I was considering reviewing both seasons or the entirety of the show when I picked up season 3, which I believe is the last season. But I'm going to check out season 1 for now, and then we'll leave season 2 for another time. And I wanted to also save this for Lazy Ween, October, those months of Halloween and all things spooky. But then I was reminding myself, it's not really horror themed, so give it that. But in case for those of you that don't know, iZombie is the developed brainchild of one Diana Del Giorro? I think that's how you pronounce her name. I don't know. I'm sorry if I pronounced her last name wrong, but it's Del Guarro, and also Rob Thomas. So for a lot of you, you might be asking yourselves, who exactly are you talking about? Let it roll right off your shoulder, don't you know? Yes, singer, songwriter, music producer, whatever that you want to call him, Rob Thomas is also lead singer of Matchbox 20, this little band that is famous, I think, is also a writer, producer, and also occasionally director of iZombie. Hate when that happens. I even saw the camera kind of tilting. I should have reached out for it. But anyways, a lot of people probably don't know who Rob Thomas is. Just look up any song that he sings on YouTube. One of my favorites is that from Meet the Robinsons, Small Wonders. Or you can even look up another one of my favorite songs, which surprisingly, even though it's sexual, it's one of the most calming and relaxing songs ever. Your Body is a Wonderland. But anyway, we're not talking about Rob Thomas. Well, he makes a small cameo in season 2, but we'll get to that eventually. But we're going to talk about iZombie season 1, and as you can tell from the... as it is not on here. Nope. But it is based off of a Vertigo book. Now, what is Vertigo? Back during DC's early years, Vertigo Comics was a line that would usually put out things for more mature audiences. For example, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, Watchmen, John Constantine, V for Vendetta. Nowadays, it doesn't exist as far as I know anymore, or if it does, it's mostly Batman related, which is really kind of stupid. So my point still stands. But this is one of the books that I've never heard about, and including when I picked up the series and admitted that I was watching it, a lot of followers of mine on Twitter were very happy that I was checking out this series, and I never knew exactly why. There was a couple of them that were like, you are actually looking at something pretty cool. So, a lot of nerds follow me on Twitter, by the way. Also some very nice people. So they were very happy that I was checking out this series, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who are on YouTube are happy about it too. So, let's get into the brain meat of everything and see if iZombie is a very good series that you should check out. So, crack open the skulls and reach for the brains. This is my review of iZombie. Olivia Liv Moore is a nurse, and she is best at what she does at saving lives of everybody that comes into the hospital, being known as basically that of a lifesaver. She had everything: the best of friends, the best of life, a well-successful job, including being a nurse who was a lifesaver, and she also had an excellent fiancé. Until the night her life is changed around when she goes to a party and is suddenly transformed into a blood-sucking, brain-eating zombie. That as a zombie, she, instead of taking over the world and infecting human after human after human, she instead joins the police force and helps on solving murders and mysteries. And basically, that's as much of a setup and plot that the series gives to you. It's about a zombie who joins the police force in order to solve murders and mysteries that happen, mostly murders. And I'm gonna talk about what's the more interesting part about the brain meat or the brain of this entire thing. And no, it's not Maurice LaMarche or Rob Bolton. If you got that joke, if you didn't get that joke, I'm not explaining it. So, anyways, while this series is pretty abnormal in that you listening to me just say a zombie helps out the police solve mysteries and murders, you might think that is basically the entirety of the series. Well, no, because there is actually a villain in this series, and while I could go through every episode and talk about the different villains that the series has, I'm going to talk about the phenomenal cast that they have chosen in this role, as they are some of the greatest performers of all time. And while this cast is kind of small, basically for the main cast, I'm saying the main cast is kind of small. I'm not going to talk about every single individual character because this video will go on for way much longer than anticipated. So, let's break down the most important characters of this lineup, starting with the heroes of the team, and we are kicking off things with Olivia Liv Moore, played by the wonderful, beautiful, and brilliant Rose McIver. As while Rose McIver may have gotten her start with Power Rangers RPM, and I would make a Power Rangers RPM reference, but I don't own it, she definitely owns the ranks of her own being a zombie. And she is one of the best written characters ever to reach a television screen, especially for a comic book adaptation. She is brilliant, cute, smart, and funny all in one. But like any good superhero or superheroine, she keeps her identity a secret. Well, for the most part, she does. While keeping her identity a secret, she pretends that she is a psychic, but lives in constant fear of what should happen if she ever goes full-on zombie, or as they call it in this series, Romero, and starts attacking and killing innocent people. As Rose McGowan basically owns this character in her own right and for good reason, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Her partner in crime is Malcolm Goodwin, who plays Detective Clive Babinock. As Clive may be new to the table, may be new to the team, but he is not short of having a heart of gold for his friends and fellow co-workers. As at first, Clive is the one that's picked on by the police force for being the new guy from Chicago Vice, but later on ends up becoming much more of a valuable member. As he may come off like an asshole or quite skeptical about the things that happen in the world around him, he is nothing more than a good cop that's just played by the appropriate rules. Although his past might be shrouded in mystery, that for the most part is good because he doesn't want to put the people that he appreciates and loves out in danger and in harm's way. And what really excels is the chemistry between Olivia and also Clive, as their friendship goes and excels beyond borders and really makes the series much more relatable. As their chemistry comes off like a buddy cop movie, you begin to appreciate it a lot more and even start to acknowledge that these two will forever be together on the pages of history. Next up, Raul Corey, who plays Dr. Ravi Chakrabarti. And Dr. Chakrabarti is the only one who knows Olivia's secret. He knows what she is, but refuses to tell anybody for her own safety and for her own measurements. And while Dr. Chakrabarti might seem like nothing more than just a morgue assistant who knows everything about the dead body and also some other stuff, he's a very intriguing and, in his own right, a down good character. As Raul plays his character as well as he can, really bringing his A-game to a character that probably would have not as much love and appreciation as he gets from me. As the chemistry between Dr. Chakrabarti and Liv becomes stronger, and even becomes a lot more than what you think it is. Yeah, no, not relationship-wise. As similar with Clive in the series, Liv and Dr. Chakrabarti are in fact the two greatest characters ever put to screen, as their chemistry is so hilarious. Put Clive Babinock in there, and the chemistry between all three of these characters becomes something unique and so special that only the three characters put on screen can do it. Next up is Major Lillywhite, played by Robert Buckley. As Major was nothing more at first than Olivia's fiancé, being highly supportive of her and being there for her when it's especially that she needed him to be there. But while Olivia goes through her very many changes throughout the series, Major is the one that she keeps out of her life for as much as she can because of what she is. And while they might have the relationship quality going for them, where they're often on again, off again, Olivia keeps him out of a relationship to protect him because she is a zombie and doesn't want him in the crossfire. As their relationship reminds me a lot of Lois and Superman, whereas Superman protects Lois with his secret identity as Clark Kent to keep her out of harm's way. As similar to Lois and Clark, their friendship carries on for most of the season, but eventually the relationship does come back and play into question. And that's very similar to Lois Lane from Superman. Major eventually finds everything out on his own, but more on that when we review Season 2. The cast of heroes is exceptional in this series, and really I love the way that Raoul Coley, Malcolm Goodwin, and Rose McIver just instantly, their chemistry together is just perfect. It's something to be beyond belief, I'm certain, and I have to say that because it is very true. But what's going to end up coming last year is the main villain of the series. Now, as I said, it because this is a crime drama series, it'd be like talking about every villain that cameoed in CSI. You'd be here a while. But there is one main villain that does end up showing up throughout the entirety of Season 1 and then eventually in Season 2. As Season 2's villain does cameo in this season, we'll talk about him more when I review Season 2. But the brilliant villain behind this series was amazingly played. I have to say that as a fact. As even the first time that I viewed this, I didn't want him to be the villain as captivating as he was for me. So, while iZombie has an amazing zombie superheroine, of course there has to be the opposite end of not a zombie hunter, but a zombie in the ranks. And this zombie is quite truly that of a monster. The main enemy of the series is Blaine the Beard, played brilliantly and amazingly by David Anders. David eventually becomes the main villain of iZombie, but that didn't seem that way for the most part, and at least not from the very beginning of the first episode. As at first, Blaine seems like a zombie that's basically like a fish out of water, as he is misplaced in the world that he is brought to, and doesn't know how to cooperate with it. As he seemed like nothing more but a sweet and sincere gentleman, that basically just wanted free brains that he could get from somebody that he would know, a friend basically. But as it turns out, and unfortunately, Blaine is nothing more than a wolf in sheep's clothing, as he is more sinister than he leads people to believe that he is. As Blaine definitely showed off that he's more of a monster of a zombie than Olivia is, basically making him exactly her perfect opposite for this series. As Blaine is technically the Lex Luthor to Olivia's Superman, as he runs everything like a criminal empire and sits on top of a mountain hill of money. And very similar to Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker, Clancy Brown is my favorite Lex Luthor, and Ron Perlman is my favorite Deathstroke, David Anders sells the role beautifully as Blaine. And if you want to find out how, then you need to watch this series, as he is one of the best things that ever happened to it. And I'm sorry for making too many Superman comparisons, but in Season 1 they make a lot of Batman references, and even more so in Season 2. So, I'm allowed. Also, this is my channel, so in the words of Homer Simpson, and if you don't know where that's from, that is not my fucking problem, but it is your problem. But what does sell the series is not just the phenomenal small cast that they have that plays huge roles. It is instead what happens with Olivia Moore. I kinda touched upon it that yes, she does eat brains in this series, but that's not exactly just the central focus of a zombie going brains and then solving murders. If you think that that's it, that is not entirely it. As what really sells this series is Olivia Moore or Rose McIver, as every time she eats a brain, she has to adapt a new personality. It's sort of like Two-Face being involved in a character, except with Two-Face, if every time Two-Face bit off somebody's face, he adapts her personality. That would be a really dark and twisted Two-Face origin story, now wouldn't it? But anyways, Every time that Rose in the series, that Rose MacGyver or Olivia Moore eats a brain in the series, she adapts a new personality, which Rose MacGyver does brilliantly, changing her character or role every single episode. Like, for example, in the second episode, she takes on the personality of a horny painter, which sounds disgusting, but amazingly, it's a lot funnier than it seems. Or how about eating the brains of a martial arts master? Well, not technically, but basically you might as well say that she ate the brains of a martial arts master, as she can start to do martial arts. To eating the brains of a gamer slash hacker. It's a funnier scene than as it seems, and yes, Rose MacGyver plays that role fantastically. And she can even go from a gamer to that of a newly expected mother who she recently had a baby before, well, unfortunately, to even that of a sex addicted radio star host. And if that's not enough, there's even more on top of already a nice, delicious cherry brain cake. So if you couldn't tell, I love this series, as iZombie Season 1 got me hooked within just the first episode. As every time that Olivia would eat a brain in this series, I went, what kind of ability or what kind of personality is she going to adapt? Because not only does she adapt basically PTSD flashbacks or memory flashes every time she eats a brain, she inherits the personality, which makes it that much more, and I do mean this, a lot more greater than expected. And yes, iZombie can basically not be for everybody. You might have to be like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? You might have to be a comic book nerd, or you might have to really enjoy horror. As I'm willing to point out that iZombie is not that much of horror related, at least the first season. The second season doesn't get horrifying or horror topics until basically towards the end of that series, but we'll talk about season 2 some other time. As season 1 is basically definitely great. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, as it says here, not rated, but there's not a whole lot that ends up happening. There are some sex jokes, there are some scenes that you have to deal with, like a prostitute or a stripper, but basically they keep it as PG as possible. But with the blood and gore and stuff in it, I kind of would recommend it maybe for kids about 13 years old. I wouldn't recommend watching it with children because some scenes in this might not be as appealing to kids as they might get horrified about it. But even if you're a fan of the comic books, if you're not a fan of comic books, even if you don't like horror, give iZombie a chance, as it is a wonderful starter series to get into with such a phenomenal cast, such great supporting characters in it, and including a lot of special guest stars are in it. Like, for example, in the very first episode, the voice of Cosmo and Timmy's dad, Darren Norris, is an enemy. Yes, I'm not even kidding, and he shows up again in a later episode in season 1 or season 2. It was amazing to see him again after all these years, and he still was good for his age. So I would recommend iZombie to anybody that wants to see it. As it is a granted, as it says on the back here, iZombie is a welcome needed addition to the TV landscape, as I can agree with that, as this is a nice addition to some of the TV shows that we have out there. It's a lot like other TV shows that you might watch, in case if you're bored, that seem better than expected, like Big City Greens or even Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So give iZombie a chance. You will not be disappointed at how damn good this series is. It has great acting, great directing, great writing, and fantastic performances all the way around. So grab yourself a brain and give iZombie a worthy bite. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. And I promise that eventually I'll review season 2. If not in May, maybe before Halloween or something. As it is a lot more of a horror variety than the first season. But still, I recommend checking out iZombie. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. And let me know who your favorite character, if you're a fan of iZombie, who your favorite character is. Mine, aside from Olivia Moore, is of course Dr. Chocolate. He is immediately the most likable and the most funniest character out of the whole bunch. So let me know in the comments down below who your favorite fan, who your favorite character is, and also I hope that I have piqued your curiosity to check this series out. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been leaving you words. I've been White Nudie. Keep you getting on, and thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care.